First question, why dirt bikes? You could have chose any other sport. Why would you want dirt bikes?
I mean, you know, we come from a similar background. I mean, I was a white trash kid from Vegas, and there's nothing but desert in Vegas. You know, my family, we weren't too stick and ball. My dad rode, both my uncles rode dirt bikes. My grandpa rode dirt bikes, and it was just what we did. You know, my dad used to go race at Indian Dunes when he was younger, living in California. Got my first bike on my fourth Christmas present, and we shortly moved to Vegas after that. And it's just what we did. You know, it was a pastime for me and my old man. You know, it was just me and him as I was growing up. And, you know, he was 23 when I was born. So he's a kid raising a kid. And we just go to the dirt bike track or just go out to the desert. And it was always just a fun thing until probably about 12. And then it got serious.
Yeah. That's when you guys start chasing all the trophies, going to all the nationals, doing all the shit.
Yeah. I mean, you know how it is. Like, you know, there comes a certain point, like, I guess in any sport, you know, like you start doing something at 4 or 5 years old and, you know, you get better at it and you show some, you know, some positive aspects of it. And then it was like, all right, cool. Like this, maybe I can do this for a living. You know, I think what's so much different about motocross specifically is like, especially in our era, you know, there wasn't a lot of money to be made. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to sign a big old contract and have a house on the hill. It was like, all right, cool. I can maybe hopefully make 150 grand a year and ride a dirt bike, not swing a shovel for a living.
At what point did freestyle come out for you in your career? Like when you were racing and riding freestyle at the same time?
Yeah, it was an interesting kind of path for me because, you know, I always aspired to be a supercross racer, you know, I mean, or ultimately a factory racer. And I never made it to that point, but I got to the point where I was chasing the supercross series and the national series and doing all the races. And, you know, videos, videos were just kind of starting to kick up. I think I did like the first couple Triple X videos and a little bit with Krusty, not a whole lot. And you know, I started to do a little bit more with Krusty, mostly because I was on the 98 Supercross series. I was already out on the road. I was in Florida. I got a call. I don't remember who it was from. It might even been Bubba, but I got a call to come out and do some filming when we're out in Florida, and Travis came out. And it was just kind of like these fun little things to do once in a while. And, you know, later that year, the first 4-leaf contest kicked up. And it was just kind of like, you know, I like doing this. It's super fun. It's taking the pressure off of racing. I flew home. I remember I flew home from Daytona. I did the 4-leaf contest. I rode Manley's bike and flew back out, not thinking much about it. It's like, all right, cool. That was super fun. You know, hopefully maybe it happens maybe next year at ASR.
Yeah.
And, you know, then the rest was history. You know, the series kind of came up. And, you know, even with the series starting to actually the series wasn't even up yet. I ended up, I'm screwing it up. I came back from Supercross in 98. Didn't have a pot to piss in, was barely, you know, making enough money getting race to race. And
living in the van.
Yeah, living in the van. And at that time I was like, all right, you know, and especially for me, like I was riding for Flesh gear. I was wearing baggy gear. I had tattoos. Supercross. Yeah, Supercross, trying to go super kind of corporate NASCAR look. I came home from the Supercross series that year and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to just sign up and get back into college. Because originally I was going to be an accountant. Like if I was going down the path, like with schooling, like I was always really good with numbers. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go be an accountant.
Accountant?
Yeah.
Like a real accountant?
Yeah, no, I swear to God. And I'll tell you a funny story later that ties all that in. And so I signed up for community college. I was home. Like I said, you know, Vegas Supercross was first weekend of May. And I got a call from a buddy to go do Warped Tour. And he's like, hey, we can pay you $1,500 a week, you know, $20 a day per diem. And in my head, I'm like, all right, cool. I can go make some cash. I was going to do the US tour, go make a little extra money for college. And went and did Warped Tour, came home at the end of that summer, actually enrolled and I went through like maybe like a month of courses out of community college in Vegas.
Crazy.
And then the 4-leaf series kicked up. And, you know, so I went out and did those events, all within the back of my mind, like, all right, cool. I'm just going to make some extra money for school.
Never was like, this is going to be my career path.
I mean, because we didn't know, you know, it's like,
I want to say the 4-leaf event was my very first freestyle event.
Yeah.
The Havasu one.
And those dudes were squirrely as shit. I mean, good on them, but it's like, you don't think they're going to have a business model together to actually allow us to go do this.
You never thought sponsors are going to be throwing money at you to go be a jackass and make money doing it.
Exactly.
Because back then, like everyone looked at us like, oh, these dudes are dumbasses.
Yeah,
like,
they're squirrely, and even the racers weren't making much money. So like, why are we going to make money doing it? And, you know, like I said, you know, I can tell the long version, but the rest was kind of history, you know, like the series kicked up and then, you know, we started doing like, MTV Sports and Music Festivals and
Yep.
different things. And then 99 was X Games. And then I've actually officially dropped out of college going at the end of the 98 school season.